actually in a bit of trouble now. He really needs to. He might have actually got us around there, I think, with that Ancient of War. That's a pretty interesting move. And Soccer doesn't have a staff, and so the Demon Hunter will just go down. So that's very nice there for ThomasG. And Soccer is going to need to bring that back as soon as possible. He might even tavern it back, but he doesn't have much in the Moonwell, so it'd be hard to do that effectively, I think. But the Ancient of Wars have now gotten hold, and Soccer says GG. So a very interesting game one, and I'll see you for game two. Okay, folks, game two now between ThomasG and Soccer, and as I said before, it's a best of two. So regardless of who wins this is going to be over, and we're going to go to the Moon games, which I'm sure some of you are very excited about. A standard build from Soccer at the moment, just early altar, and then Ancient of War as well, and same seems to be going for both sides. And this is obviously Ancient Isles, which is a very good map for hunts if that's what you want to be doing. And I think it is very possible that we're going to be seeing something like that. We'll have to see though. Obviously they're both Ancient of War creeping this creep here, which is very easy to Ancient of War creep, and they're both now sending out their scout wisps as well. And it looks like ThomasG isn't even bothering to scout the base. He just scouts that the Ancient of Wars there, and so he guesses that it's not going to be early hunts. At least it might be late hunts. And let's get. And both of them have now started their Ancient of War creeping. And Soccer actually with an interesting base build here. He's marking off a lot of space, and obviously he's going to try and he'll probably root his Ancient of War there, and then put maybe some more Moonwalls there, but he only needs 2 more, so I don't think he can actually get a base block off. And so ThomasG going for a much more standard base build. Obviously lots of room for Ancient of War there, and then a couple of Moonwalls there will just sort of nicely block it off. And meanwhile Soccer is actually putting down a Hunter's Hall here, very nicely hidden. It's unlikely that ThomasG is going to scout that for a very long time, and he might only figure it out when he sees the first Huntress. And as you can see, Soccer obviously doesn't have that Hunter's Hall up yet, so he can spend the time walking his Ancient of War back into a decent position, even though obviously you probably won't need to be defensive for most of the game, because with Huntresses you need to be offensive. And he hasn't teched, so he definitely is going for a Huntress build. And he should be putting out a second Ancient of War, but you probably want to put it in a hidden position. Maybe we'll put it next to the Hunter's Hall, because once you scout that, you pretty much know what's going on. And actually an aggressive Ancient of War here for ThomasG. Obviously he's going to use it to creep, and he's actually teching and putting down a second Ancient of War, so maybe he's just going to try and be very aggressive. And a Tree of Life actually going in for Soccer here. That's going to be that's probably not going to be scouted either for a while. And obviously one of the advantages of Huntresses is that you have a really strong early game, and so you can just press with all your you can use your economic advantage to do things like put down a Tree of Life and then get an early expansion, and then try and press your lead further. And these two archers do hide, and Soccer doesn't have a dust, so he is going to be in a bit of trouble there. Gloves of Haste for the Demon Hunter compared to Claws of Attack. They're both quite good items, really. Gloves of Haste tend to be better in the late game, but that's not a huge consideration. And this Hunter's Hall is now done, getting Ultra Vision already. Obviously Ultra Vision is a safe research to get, because your opponent can't tell how far you can see really unless you do something ultra sort of map hacky. But first Huntress is now out for Soccer, and when ThomasG scouts this, that's what's really going to give it away. Lots of archers actually for ThomasG, so he might actually be okay from this push. I think he's doing quite well. He doesn't have a Hunter's Hall up yet, so it looks like he might be going for a Ancient of Wind build again. Maybe same thing as last time. That's pretty similar to what he did last time. Is he has his lot of archers and then no Hunter's Hall, so maybe he'll pick up a Naga, go for another push. And here's Soccer's second Ancient of War, and it'll probably start pumping out Huntresses immediately. Actually, yeah, that's very quick there. And level 2 and a bit now for Demon Hunter of ThomasG, and some very nice items actually for him. And meanwhile, ThomasG is now scouting around with this Wisp, and this might actually scout out the expansion. It's going to scout out this Ancient of War, which might give away sort of Soccer's whole game plan, but it was bound to happen eventually. And this one two Huntresses now coming in, but are really going to have to run away from this massive these 5 archers. And ThomasG not in great position, actually taking a bit of damage from the creeps as well. Decides to run away, I guess, but it's a bit of a shame that he couldn't capitalize on that, because obviously just with so many archers you can really do a lot of damage to the Huntresses. But it looks like Soccer had sufficient focusing power that he managed to take them out, or at least managed to have the threat to take them out. And Soccer with level 2 and a bit Demon Hunter now, tanking on his Huntress, which is pretty sensible because he doesn't want to tank too much on his Demon Hunter, because that's sort of what's going to be saving all his or that's going to be what's tanking all his damage. And Soccer actually, by looks of it, had a wisp at the back of ThomasG's base, just getting lumber, and just had to detonate there. And Hunter Saw now going up for ThomasG, very late one actually. I'm surprised he's actually he forgot it in the first place and is actually building it now. You'd have thought that he might just go. Actually, I guess he probably wants Dryads and Ancient Protectors and whatnot. And I wonder what Naga now out for ThomasG as well. I assume Soccer's staying at tier 1. Yeah, he is. And so no second hero for Soccer for a while, or probably ever. And that Foster was going to be going to save that Archer. And so this is not going to go too well for Soccer at this point. He's going to want to go back, heal up, and then go for some sort of decisive push in time. And actually, he's probably going to want to keep this expansion out first. And what he has to hope is that ThomasG hasn't figured out what's going on, which is very possible really at this point. And actually hidden units there for Soccer, that's going to be very useful, just that scouting ability. And that's good. Soccer's really going to need to heal up and then get back really quickly. And it looks like this expansion has been scouted. It wasn't overly unpredictable. And ThomasG now aggroing the creeps and putting them straight onto this Tree of Life, who will want to now get away. But Soccer sort of has his Huntress army, and the Huntress are obviously so good against Archers that he can just that he can just chase away them. And Soccer does manage to root his tree. That's gonna mean it's gonna go down slower, but it is probably gonna go down unless he can really get some good positioning here. And it looks like he is gonna chase away these Archers. And he is gonna need to send at least one unit to aggro these creeps just to take the focus off the Tree of Life, but it doesn't look like that's what he's doing. And so maybe that's what he's gonna do with his Archer. No, he's just sending the Archer back to kill the or to damage the Demon Hunter, so that's a bit surprising, really, a bit careless by him. He has got a couple Archer kills lined up by the looks of it, but it looks like he's going to lose his expansion. Yeah, he has, and so that's very bad for Soccer, and looks like ThomasG might actually carry this game. ThomasG now knows he has an advantage, that's why he's putting up an Ancient Protector. He just needs to stall for a bit. He has lost his Naga, but that's a level 1 Naga, it's not a huge deal. I think actually, it's surprising that there's no tier 2 buildings. Actually, cancelling his tier 3 tech, which isn't a big loss because he doesn't even have his tier 2 buildings yet. But Soccer just knowing that he has to be sort of really super offensive now that he's lost his expansion, and so he just needs to move straight into the base and do as much damage as he can as soon as he can, especially with this Naga gun. And looks like ThomasG's putting up another Ancient Protector outside of the base just to limit the amount of time this can go on for, and I think it is pretty limited anyways. He's going to try and kill a couple of wisps, and then he doesn't have a TP, so he'll probably have to either run away or actually just end it. And I think he sort of has the potential to end it at this point, but some nice micro getting that Huntress out there. And meanwhile, it looks like he's good. He's trying to focus down this altar, but he must know that it's not going to go down because it's a level 1 hero. He is actually going to take out a couple of these repairing wisps, though. That's probably going to be the bigger advantage. And he might actually get us around here on this Demon Hunter. It looks like he has. Demon Hunter does have a healing potion, burns it immediately. He could just uproot his Ancient of Wonders. He does. And Ancient Protector now going up in the back for ThomasG. 2 Ancient Protectors actually. This one out here got killed, and another one trying to go up here. But I think this might be the end for ThomasG. He did manage to cancel that expansion. He did do very well. But it looks like Soccer's just Ancient Protector. Huntresses are just strong enough that ThomasG has to say GG. So that's the end of the ThomasG versus Soccer, and we're on to Moon versus Nicker, which I'm very excited about. Okay, folks, so now we're back for the Moon versus Nicker games and the WC3L 1 versus 1 section of Gab versus We Made Fox. And this is going to be obviously another night off mirror. Pretty centered openings from both sides. I think I'd expect We Made Foxes, actually both of them, Soccer and Moon, to be very good at Elf Mirror, considering that they Moon and Soccer have each other to practice against, and that sort of those two, along with probably Remind, are sort of the 3 best elves in the world. So certainly you'd think that they'd be able to practice every day and really have his strategies down. But Soccer really did get caught off guard in one of his games on Turtle Rock. I think he probably wasn't expecting those Ancient of Wars to come in when it was a cross spawn. Because you often see it for close spawn, but not really that often for cross spawn, and so that might have just caught Soccer a bit off guard. And I'm not sure if that's what Gab's sort of trying to do here. Is they know that that Moon and Soccer are really strong elves, and so they just have to play a bit surprisingly in the hopes of taking a couple games. And obviously, We Made Fox is currently 3-1 up, and this is going to mean that Moon just needs to win one of the next 2 games, then either Moon or Soccer winning the ace game as well. Winning any of those 3 games would win this clan war for them, and I think that's pretty likely to happen. But you certainly don't know. Obviously, if Soccer lost 1 game, I think Nicker is just as good as ThomasG, so I think it's just as possible that Moon could drop at least 1 game here, maybe 2 in this best of 2. You can see Nicker's Wisp is immediately scouting this area here. That's a pretty sensible thing to do, because you want to be able to pull those creeps. Actually, you probably would have wanted to bring his Wisp down a bit earlier if you wanted to pull the creeps, but he wants to know if Moon is there, just because then he'll come in and try and go for the creep jack. Otherwise, he'll just go and creep normally, and that is what he's going to be doing. It looks like both sides are just doing this normal creeping of the really easy camps, and as